I'm about to spoil this whole show. But before I do, I just want to say that the second season of this show is the first anime in history to sweep an entire season by getting the number one spot every week for 12 weeks straight. A show that can do that is truly special. And it is the same case here. So keep that in mind as I talk about how much I love this show. Because if you haven't watched it, The Dangers in My Heart is a show about Ichikawa who right off the bat says he wants to murder everyone in his class because they annoy him. Edgy, I know, but please stay with me. This act doesn't stay long because he has a fateful encounter with the popular class idol, Yamada. At first, it seems like all he wants is Yamada gone, but as the two slowly open up to each other, they show a side of themselves they didn't know existed. As Yamada and Ichikawa develop their friendship, a deeper feeling begins to start. So this show literally gives you everything you want from a rom-com. It's so refreshing compared to the recent rom-coms. I haven't seen character development this good since Nino's development in the Quince, and that's high praise. So Ichikawa reminds me a lot of me. And I mean a lot. The social outcast weirdo who slowly starts to like the tall, popular girl in class, and she starts to get closer to him, but he realizes deep down that she's way out of his league. So he acts distant as she tries to get close because he doesn't want to get his hopes up that she feels the same way and end up hurt. You know, I may have related a bit too much, but we're moving on. The characters in this show are spectacular because every step you hope they take, they take. Every single time you want them to develop their relationship, it happens. It's slow, but you want it to take its time. You want them to live out their story to its fullest potential. Not to mention the idea that there could be any sort of competition or love triangle is completely thrown out. Honestly, everyone in this show roots for everyone else. And that is so refreshing because the lack of unnecessary sabotage is such a bonus with this show. You don't get this kind of stuff anymore. It may have some cliches, but it doesn't make the watcher question the integrity of the characters and the story. There is, however, a bit of a communication block because Ichikawa isn't used to being social as Yamada. He has to learn to open up and let someone in again after his friends went to a private school and left him behind. We've all been there. We turn into a Capri Sun commercial and go, "Hey guys, let's hang out over summer break. Mom will let me borrow the Jeep." And you never hear from them again. I'm sorry, that's not really something to laugh at, but I like doing that. So Ichikawa went into this mode of let no one abandon you like that again. He's alone, and he's scared, and he just wants to be left alone so no one does the same thing. But Yamada does what we all wish someone would do, slowly wear us down to the point where we feel safe to trust someone again. Yamada does this in a way that feels natural and not scripted, and she feels like she can be her normal hungry self around him. She can let her guard down around Ichikawa, and it's not like she feels sorry for him, but I think she feels bad that he's been hurt and wants to show him it's okay to let people in. She is such a special character. Not only that, but she's developing feelings for him in the same way. She's very direct with Ichikawa, and at times becomes very obsessed with him. I'm talking one of those, if you touch him, I'll end you kind of looks. That Gasai Yono kind of look. She's very protective, and it's so cute. Yamada and Ichikawa aren't perfect for each other, but I think that's what makes them special. An unlikely couple defying all odds, and no one would love the other more than them. Also, they bring out the best in each other and show that they wouldn't have certain life experiences if they hadn't gotten so close to one another. Oh, it's totally a tale of an introvert being adopted by an extrovert. We all know this. And might I say, Yamada is a very extroverted person. She's able to keep this bubbly appearance around everyone, but around Ichikawa, she can sometimes break character and becomes a bit of a mess herself. The best part about her is she's real. She's real with everyone she encounters and is always true to herself. She can be honest and open up around Ichikawa and even feel safe to cry her heart out knowing he'll take care of her. But a lot of the time, she's just being an adorable airhead. Most of the time, Yamada is the one making the moves on Ichikawa, right? But Ichikawa inadvertently says things to catch Yamada off guard and allow us to see that she indeed is affected by the things he says. So without a doubt, these two like each other, and there is a genuine spark. Even the sayings that Ichikawa doesn't mean to. When he means to say, "You're so tall I can't see around you," he says, "You're all I see in class." Literally just like butterflies. Immediate butterflies. But I think Yamada puts it best in her letter to Hanazawa. About Ichikawa, he's actually super shy. It can sometimes be hard to see, but he's always thinking about people. Thinking way too much, even. If you get close, he pulls away. He's just like a cat, really. We built our relationship up slowly, a little bit at a time. The time and that closeness is something special and precious to me. Bruh, this tells us everything we need to know. They are head over heels for each other. And to that sense, Ichikawa is very much like a cat and has been taken in by Yamada, who has slowly gotten his trust and love. But Ichikawa is not good at showing it, much like a cat. Not that he doesn't want to, he just doesn't know how to show affection in the right way. And he doesn't want to scare Yamada by being weird or too close or something. He doesn't want her to go away. But he has become very protective of Yamada as well. Honestly, none of us knew how to handle feelings back then. You knew how it was. It's extremely relatable and gives these characters so much life. The amount of change you see in these characters is ridiculous. In most rom-coms, you have two characters that are meant to be together, blah blah blah, and it's like, oh yeah, that's obvious. But Ichikawa and Yamada are not naturally drawn together. The gap between them is as big as Yamada is tall, but they are slowly closing it. You can see it in every single episode. There is progress. What Ichikawa and Yamada find in one another is what the other one was missing. Ichikawa needed a girl to drag him out of his shell, and Yamada needed someone to see the person who she really was on the inside, not just being the tall, popular girl in class. They savor each other's company, and even though it's hard for Ichikawa to admit out loud, he loves hanging out with Yamada. They bring out the best in each other, and even though Ichikawa is awkward and Yamada is a massive airhead, you can't watch this and not say there isn't a spark big enough to light an entire fireworks show for 1,000 years. I came up with that analogy by myself, by the way. And not to say that Yamada doesn't get blush around Ichikawa. The scene that always comes to my mind is when his mom is asking about the pretty girl in his class. It could have been anyone. And if he knows who she is, without a hesitation, he says Yamada. And with Yamada right behind both of them, she blushes away very quickly. In the second season, we see Ichikawa say, "Yamada is mine." To which Yamada overhears and she explodes. She's embarrassed, but it just reaffirms for her where she stands in Ichikawa's life. Most importantly, in another episode, Ichikawa starts overthinking that Yamada is using him and starts ignoring her. She's extremely scared that he hates her, and after seeing her cry, he realizes Yamada isn't the type of person who would do that. She's sweet and caring and doesn't have the capacity to use a person to her own benefit or make fun of someone for who they are. And it's that realization that allows Ichikawa to overcome his fear that Yamada is some mean girl that's going to give him all this love and rip it all away. These two have that problem like once, and they hug it out. And then they start to talk things out whenever something's on their mind. They really take every obstacle with grace, and it's beautiful. Little tidbit here, one of my favorite episodes when Ichikawa has broken his arm and Yamada is so concerned that she immediately video calls him. I just love how wholesome and cute their relationship is. On a somewhat unrelated note, you don't see the tall girl, short guy rom-com very often, and some of us don't mind tall girls. So this is something different. What shocked me was finding out that the author was a woman. And she's just like Yamada. And it's not that, I'm mad, oh, a woman wrote it. No, it's not that. It's just very interesting how well she can get inside of a guy's head. Because this show is from Ichikawa's point of view, and more often than not, I'm like, oh my god, I've been there, and I've had those same thoughts, and how does she know? It's amazing. She really gets the male reader, and it allows us to relate to Ichikawa so much more, and maybe even relate to Yamada as well, because while we aren't able to hear her thoughts, her actions speak volumes. So, Norio Sakurai, you are an amazing author. Thank you so much for The Dangers in My Heart. I am truly grateful. So The Dangers in My Heart has wonderful background characters that enhance this show and keep unnecessary conflict to a minimum. Now, I will admit that the dude bros behind Ichikawa always talking dirty and acting like fools, that can get on your nerves pretty easy. But they enhance Ichikawa as a character in that he has the common sense not to act like them and doesn't fall into the stereotypical main character rom-com guy thing where he's like, oh yeah, well let's try peeking on the girls. No, he doesn't do that. And then there's this guy who's constantly trying to get Yamada's number. He's really annoying, but he's dealt with very well and he's put in his place. That's it. I swear, that is it. Yamada's friends are incredibly delightful. Moe is definitely my favorite side character because of her voice and how funny she is. And further on down in the manga that I've seen recently, they start to get their own side stories too and, start to develop as characters. They are so well rounded and complement our main love story very well. Now, the first episode might leave you wondering where in God's name are we going with this story, but I swear, stick with it. 3 episodes in and you'll undoubtedly be hooked. You get so deep into the show that you forget Ichikawa wanting to murder everyone was ever a thing. Like, it was a phase for a bit, yeah, sure, but now every time we recall it, we cringe. That takes serious writing. To make a reader forget about a piece of a character, like, oh yeah, he used to be a poser psychopath. But he never really was. He was just misunderstood. And he wasn't a people person, and instead of working on it, he dug a deep hole because it was easier. But the deeper you dig, the harder it is to get out of that hole. But then comes along Yamada, reaching out for help. A boy who has nothing and has hid himself away from the world by digging deep into the dark, and a popular girl whose head is in the clouds but as down to earth as you can imagine, come together in this tale of love. Leaving the audience saying, that was the best rom-com of 2023. And it was! Because Anime Corner awarded The Dangers in My Heart the best romance of 2023. I was blown away by this news, but it gets better. It also won Best Couple, Best Slice of Life, and Best Girl. Truly deserving of all of it, and truly does show how special this show is. Thank you for your support, Anime Corner, and being the voices of those who don't just watch Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, yes, they are, okay shows. I haven't watched them, and I'm pretty sure they're good, but there's other shows out there, guys. I mean, come on. The art, music, adaptation, voice acting, writing, humor, development, characters, and many more aspects are all executed flawlessly in this show. It really is so well-rounded that I fail to see too much wrong with it. Which is why we will also be discussing Season 2. Y'all weren't ready. Way before the second season even came out, I had read and caught up with the manga, and I still wasn't ready for the adaptation. I was wondering with 1 episode left how they were going to adapt the most crucial part of the series, and I was not disappointed. Now, that is to say, they changed it up a bit. They had about 3 chapters to cover, so I kind of wish they had opened it up to a longer 1-hour finale. But man, they definitely delivered on the emotional relief that came along with this final episode. But if you are curious, the differences with the manga are this. So they put the part where Ichikawa understands his feelings in the correct spot at chapter 109. But the problem is he did not go try to find Yamada after that like he did in the anime. The next chapter, chapter 110, immediately goes into the Torii Gates with the confession from Ichikawa. Then Ichikawa accidentally gets put in with the girls, and that happens in chapter 111 and 112 after he's already confessed. So in the manga, the rest of the way is about Yamada wanting to respond properly. In the anime, it's about Ichikawa wanting to confess and tell her to go into the audition. To that point, Yamada does not immediately leave town. Ichikawa does take her to the train station after he confesses in chapter 111, but she stays another day. Finally, Yamada does actually go back home for her audition in chapter 113, which also contains her confession. But Ichikawa is the only one to see her off. I have no idea why they had Kobayashi in there. To me, that just seems like a massive change that I find kind of weird. But they did chapter 113 justice with Yamada's confession adapted perfectly. It was like I was seeing it for the first time all over again. It was also animated beautifully with the final picture leaving the audience breathless. Then to add on to that, for the end credits, they bring back the original opening because of course they do. My heart was in danger because it definitely exploded from reminiscing on the journey we went on. Truly, I was overjoyed from this ending. Yeah, you know what, they mixed up a few things in the last chapter, but I'm a purist, what can I say? From a director's point of view, I get it. Because of runtime and they wanted to fit both confessions in the same episode, I totally understand. But after flawlessly adapting the manga, why mix it all up in the very end? Nevertheless, if I had not read the manga, this is perfect. This is everything you could ever want. It is exactly the ending this series deserves, and no modern anime comes close to the power of this confession and even this rom-com. I sat there and I cried all over again. There was no shame, no embarrassment. It was perfect. I haven't been obsessed with a series like this since the Quince. As soon as the anime ended, I had to pick up the manga, and having done so, I have to say it just gets better and better. Some series will drop off after the anime ends, but this story continues to prove that it has the potential to be a classic. So, with all that being said, I love The Dangers in My Heart, and it's nothing short of perfect. It's exactly what the rom-com genre needed and brings this refreshing feeling back to an otherwise dry series of love stories. They really don't make them like this anymore. They don't. Honestly, this show is overloaded on cuteness. It has me giggling, squealing, and crying, and I have no shame in admitting that it makes my heart flutter every single episode. The butterflies are real, and I see this show becoming a diamond in the rough that will one day become a classic. It's unique, wholesome, relatable, and filled with so much heart, you may just believe in the possibility of true love again. Thank you so much for watching this long video. My God, I have no idea how long this took. But I wanted to make sure that this show got all the support and recognition it deserves, and I think I really did that well. But the real question is, what did you think of The Dangers in My Heart? Did you like it as much as I did? There is only one right answer, by the way. Let me know in the comments down below. Alright, I'm out. Peace. See ya.